If thou come to Turgon, said Ulmo, then the words shall arise in thy mind, and thy mouth shall speak as I would. Speak and fear not. And thereafter do as thy heart and valor lead thee. Hold fast to my mantle, for thus shalt thou be guarded. And I will send unto thee out of the wrath of Ase, and thus shalt thou be guided. Yea, the last mariner of the last ship that shall seek into the west until the rising of the star. Go now back to the land. And thereupon Ulmo lifted up a mighty horn, and blew upon it a single great note, to which the roaring of the storm was but a windflaw upon a lake. And even as he strained to hear the sound of those far waves, and to see clearer the distant light, the note ended. And he stood beneath the thunder of the storm, and the lightning, many-branched, rent asunder the heavens above him. And Ulmo was gone, and the sea was in tumult, and the wild waves of Ase rode against the walls of Nevrast. Hey, I'm Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
And together we are all...
Keep on Tolkien.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 113. This is part 2 of our Fall of Gondolin coverage.
Yeah, part 2 of part 3, right? Part 2 of part 3
part
of
2 of part 3 of parts of parts and parts.
It's confusing. There's a lot of parts.
There's a lot of parts. So we are getting towards the end of our 100th episode celebration.
Yeah.
Again, we decided to celebrate our 100th episode by doing a
13 at least episodes. Yeah.
By a 15 episode series on the great tales of the Elder Days. Beren and Luthien, the children of Hurin, and the Fall of Gondolin. So we've already covered the first two, and today we're continuing our coverage of the Fall of Gondolin.
Yeah, what was that? We've been trying to use. I remember when we sit down for these, we try to use this word specifically. What's that fun word for the three great tales? Do you remember?
A Tanitarian?
Yeah, it was just like the tale of men or something.
Tanitarian. Yeah, because Atani is men. Yeah, you broke that down for us.
Yeah,
live on air.
Yeah, look at that.
It's a fun word. You don't hear it often.
Yeah, Atani. Remember? Yeah, we always talk. That's the umbrella-ass term for men, right? If you want to see more on that, check out that 2-part men episode we did a few seasons ago. You'll learn all about that bullshit. Oh my god.
So, today, we are going to continue our coverage of the final version of the Fall of Gondolin.
Yeah.
Being the canon version. And then we're going to get to where that story kind of ends, because it's an incomplete story. And we're going to finish the telling of the story using the Silmarillion.
Yeah, we'll shift sources there and finish up with a more familiar version of the text, I'm sure.
I love that it's kind of like right in the middle of the story, too.
Yeah.
But it still fits so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today we'll be closing the canon version of the story of the Fall of Gondolin. And in the next episode, that's going to be episode 114, is when we're going to begin discussing the earliest version of the story, which is really fun. You guys are definitely going to want to tune in for that.
Yeah, that's kind of the I guess what, because like the early parts of these episodes we've been doing, the early parts of these series we've been doing, right, have been what we normally do. Which is just like, this is what happened, these were the guys, these were the people, whatever.
This is the story.
This is the story. But then the second half usually of the series is us dissecting the shit out of it and learning things we didn't know about the evolution of the text and all that fun stuff.
Previous versions.
So I feel like largely this is what this whole 100th episode series has been about, is just like getting a little bit deeper.
Taking a deep dive.
Just a little bit deeper than we normally get.
I mean, so deep that Sauron was a cat. I mean...
Yeah, Sauron was a cat at one point, dude.
That's a deep cut.
It's a deep cut. Yeah. Let's do a little previously on. You want to do that, gentlemen? Previously on X-Men. Right?
Yeah, so last week on The Fall of Gondolin. So last week we covered the birth of Tuor, being the son of Huor, being born in Dor-lomin shortly after the Nirnaeth Arnoediad. We covered that Tuor's father is Huor, and that Huor is killed in that battle.
Yeah, with the poisoned arrow to the eye. Fun.
Yeah.
Oof.
And now the entire northern region of Mithrim, including Dor-lomin, is under occupation by evil Easterling men.
Yeah.
We also learned that Tuor was born to Rian while she was living with some Grey Elves in the mountains west of Lake Mithrim.
Mm-hmm.
And after Tuor's birth, his mother went in search of the body of her husband and died from despair when she found the Hill of the Slain.
So I guess she kind of found it, right?
Yeah.
One more for the pile, I guess.
That's one positive way to frame that.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
It's like one of the saddest parts of his backstory, I thought.
At least we know what happened to her, though. You know?
Yeah. No, it's the kind of mission accomplished like when Bush did that thing with the ship, remember, like halfway through the war in Iraq, and he was like, mission accomplished. And then we were there for like another decade for whatever reason. Fun stuff.
Anyway, so Tuor, he lived with some elves until he, was a young boy. And then he was captured and enslaved by Easterling occupiers.
Yeah, fun.
As they do.
Occupations are fun, and enslavement's even more fun, right?
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Tuor grew into a man, and he escaped from slavery, and he lived as an outlaw in the in the mountains, which was a pretty cool part of his life, I guess. He also becomes filled with the inspiration of Ulmo to leave his homeland, right? Just exodus,
Pretty big thing there.
And at that moment, there's like a spring of water that starts flowing at his feet, and it overflows, and it creates a little river that runs down the hillside next to him. And Tuor takes it as a sign, and he follows that small stream all the way westward to the secret gate of the Noldor.
And Tuor passes through the gate of the Noldor, and he leaves Dorloman. And when he emerges past down the Rainbow Cleft, he ends up turning south and enters the country of Nevrast. And I remember this being a very beautiful journey for him, having a good time.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
And eventually, he makes it to the coast, and he beholds the sea for the first time.
The first mortal man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also many migrating birds in this region, and Tuor's attention is caught by a bunch of white swans, right? Maybe that'll come into play. Tuor, he follows these swans across country to the abandoned halls of Vinyamar. That's a fun place. Remember, over there by the sea. Cool.
Yeah, on the western coast.
Yeah, on the west coast. It's kind of sort of like where like Oregon would be in America, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, while he's there, he finds the fabled shield, hauberk, longsword, and helmet left by Turgot. Which is pretty nice forward thinking of him, I guess.
And then after that, Tuor was drawn to the sea, where he has his famous interaction with Ulmo himself. And Ulmo tells Tuor that he has been chosen as Ulmo's messenger to go to find King Turgon in Gondolin. And our opening excerpt was actually a little excerpt of Ulmo's dialogue there.
Yeah.
The end of their conversation before Ulmo, goes poof.
Yeah, and then he Batmans him.
Yeah, he does a Batman.
Yeah, he Batmans him.
He does.
He's gone, yeah. God, that's annoying, right?
But yeah, so that is our previously on. That's what we covered last week. So now, let's jump back into Of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, a.k.a. the final version of the story.
Freaky, yeah, let's do it.
And remember, this is an incomplete version of the story, so we're going to tell this version until it ends, and then we're going to pick up with the Silmarillion.
We're going to ride this pony until it dies. Okay, let's start with Tuor waking up in the morning after the storm. Eyes open, ready to go.
So Tuor wakes up, and when he went out onto the terrace of Vinyamar, he found that the large waves had just wreaked havoc outside. There was seaweed and driftwood everywhere, even way, way up on the terraces where he was.
Damn.
Must have been a crazy storm.
Yeah, Tuor, he noticed an elf among the rocks on the shore, just kind of chilling.
Surprise.
Yeah, just dazed there. This elf had clearly been washed up with the wreckage of a boat.
He uses his detective skills to find out that this person has been shipwrecked. He's just sitting there staring into the waves and the rocks, right?
Yeah, he's kind of in a daze.
Yeah, and Tuor, he stands there watching the elf, and a name he had never heard comes to mind. Just like a premonition, kind of, right?
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
And he calls it out, kind of without even thinking, right?
Did Ulmo inception him?
Yeah, he incepted him. And he says, "Welcome, Voronwe. I await you."
Yeah, so then this elf, apparently Voronwe, stares up at Tuor, and he is just, for a second, he's in total fear and wonder. He's just looking at him like, who is this guy, and how did he know his name? And then Voronwe responds to Tuor. We've got an excerpt here about this scene from The Unfinished Tales, Part 1, Chapter 1, of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, read by Trevor.
"Who are you, Lord?" Voronwe asked. "For many years ago, my people left this land, and none have dwelt here since. And now I perceive that despite your raiment you are not of them, as I thought, but are of the kindred of men. I am, said Tuor. And are you not the last mariner of the last ship that sought the west from the havens of Círdan? I am, said the elf. Voronwe, son of Voronwe, am I? But how you know my name and fate, I understand not. I know, for the Lord of Waters spoke to me yestereve, answered Tuor, and he said that he would save you from the wrath of Osse and send you hither to be my guide. Then in fear and wonder, Voronwe cried, You have spoken with Ulmo the Mighty? Then great indeed must be your worth and doom. But whither should I guide you, Lord? For surely a king of men you must be, and many must wait upon your word. Nay, I am an escaped thrall, said Tuor, and I am an outlaw alone in an empty land. But I have an errand to Turgon, the hidden king. Know you by what road I should find him?
Interesting meeting here. So Voronwe advises that it would be useless for Tuor to try to go and seek Gondolin because mortals are forbidden from entering the city.
Mm-hmm.
And Tuor responded by referencing that his father, Huor, is a personal friend of Turgon. And Tuor also reiterated that this is the command of Ulmo.
Be pretty cool to speak with the gravitas of a god. You know?
Yeah. Be like, it's not me saying it.
Yeah, it's God. There's so many things throughout history have had that, just like, it's not me, it's the big God, he said kill all these people. I didn't say it,
Big man up top.
Yeah, it's coming straight from upstairs.
I'm just following orders, baby, whatever.
Yeah.
And so to back up these bold claims, Tuor quotes to Voronwe Ulmo's past warnings to Turgon. And we've got an excerpt from the Unfinished Tales, Part 1, Chapter 1 of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, read by Joel.
Will Turgon forget that which Ulmo spoke to him of old? Remember that the last hope of the Noldor cometh from the sea? Or again, when peril is nigh, one shall come from Neverast to warn thee? I am he that should come, and I am arrayed thus in the gear that was prepared for me. Tuor marveled to hear himself speak so, for the words of Ulmo to Turgon at his going from Neverast were not known to him before, nor to any save the hidden people. Therefore the more amazed was Voronwe, but he turned away, and looked toward the sea, and he sighed. Alas, he said, I wish never again to return, and often have I vowed in the deeps of the sea that, if ever I set foot on land again, I would dwell at rest far from the shadow in the north, or by the havens of Círdan, or maybe in the fair fields of Nantathrin, where the spring is sweeter than the heart's desire. But if evil has grown while I have wandered, and the last peril approaches them, then I must go to my people. He turned back to Tuor. I will lead you to the hidden gates, he said, for the wise will not gainsay the counsels of Ulmo.
And so Voronwe agreed to guide Tuor to the hidden city of Gondolin.
As one would.
Yeah, but he wouldn't give Tuor any details about where they were going. He still kept that under wraps.
Still kept it a secret.
And when Tuor questioned him about how they would survive in the wild, Voronwe revealed that he still had a stash of elven waybread left from his voyage.
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool detail. I don't think this was in the Silmarillion version.
No, I don't think so. It might have mentioned waybread offhand, but I don't think it doesn't go into it like it does.
But
here.
it goes into a little more detail in this version of the story. So Voronwe explains that the elven waybread is kept in a waterproof pouch that keeps it preserved as long as the pouch remains sealed.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know, it goes into a little more detail about what is essentially lembas.
Yeah.
That we don't get in other places.
And then elves basically had vacuum sealing.
Yeah, they had food savers.
Vacuum sealing.
Yeah, they had that food saver shit.
So Voronwe leads Tuor south past the mountain range of Ered Wethrin, down into western Beleriand. And nowadays most of Beleriand was infested with orcs and the spies of Morgoth, so this isn't a good place to be.
No.
So Voronwe, from here, he turns east and he follows the mountain range closely so that they can basically travel under the protection of the shadow of the mountains. And while they were concealed by the mountain shadow, they took some time to speak to each other, and they learned about each other.
Yeah, Tuor learns from Voronwe that he was actually born in Neverast, and he learned about some of Voronwe's travels, because he's a well-traveled elf there.
Oh, yeah.
Expert mariner and shit, right? Like, that's the whole thing? Yeah. Yeah, Voronwe, he spent a lot of time expressing his love for the land of Nantathrin, which is centered for the land of willows. This is in southern Beleriand, near, I think it's near the mouths of Sirion, right?
Yeah, it's just up the river a little bit from there. And it comes up a couple times in other tales as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just known to be a really, really beautiful place. One of the most beautiful places in Middle-earth. And Voronwe says as much. He says it's the most beautiful place in Middle-earth that he's ever been.
Yeah, I mean...
And he just dreams of going back someday.
Yeah, like willow trees aren't super common in Minnesota where we're from. They're around, but they're not
around.
They're not hella common. Could you imagine like a whole grove of just beautiful willows?
It sounds so cool.
It would sounds so cool.
I want to go to that place.
Yeah.
This place, in fact. Well, Tuor also, he learned why Voronwe was the last mariner of the last ship that sought the west, as is quoted. And so, after King Turgon sent Voronwe on his mission, he passed through Nantethrin. And while there, he became enamored with how beautiful it was. And so he lingered, of course.
Yeah, this was his first time there. He was like, this place is awesome.
And one day, while Voronwe was in his boat, a great wind blew him down the river to the sea, where Círdan had been waiting. And of the 7 ships that Círdan had made for Turgon's messengers, only one was left, still waiting for Voronwe. It's like destiny, or doom, as Tolkien would say.
Yes, doom!
Now, so Voronwe goes on to explain that he had essentially spent 7 years out on the sea sailing around trying to find his way westward, but he ultimately could not, as is commonly the tale when people try to do that.
Yeah.
And he said that when he and his small crew finally turned back to Middle-earth, they were suddenly taken by a terrible storm, and Voronwe was miraculously saved from his shipwreck and washed ashore unscathed. It was basically a miracle.
That's kind of where we meet him, right?
Yeah,
that's probably why we're staring off into the waves. Like, how the fuck did that just happen?
That's exactly right. That's one of the. He's completely dumbfounded.
Yeah,
yeah, and he said he'd been sitting on the shore only about an hour or so.
Oh, he's literally still reeling for an
Tuor
hour.
had found him, so he was he was dumbfounded. He was reeling.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Aren't there stories of people trying to go west and then hitting storms and sinking, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of various enchantments that don't allow you to easily get there.
Yeah.
So, Voronwe tried, and then he's like, well, okay, we can't find it. So he goes back and hits a storm anyway.
Yeah,
that's unlucky.
Some sort of destiny, perhaps.
It's probably Ase. Ase just fucking hates
Ase.
mariners, I think. If you don't like respect Ase, like really worship Ase in the way, like we learned this with the Númenórean shit, remember? With Eldarion and the bow on the ship and all that shit, right? If you piss off like Ase or Uinen, right, his wife, you're not going to have a good sailing trip, right? Like they are very much actively controlling the commerce.
Spiteful gods.
They're very much on lockdown with the shipping routes and everything. They understand it all.
Oh yeah. Ase can make your sailing trip very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as Tuor and Voronwe continued their journey, Voronwe proved to be such a great guide that they went completely unseen. And we've got some details from the Unfinished Tales, Part 1, Chapter 1 of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin. Danny's going to give them to us.
Soon after, Tuor and Voronwe arose and turned their back toward the sea, and set out upon their long journey in the dark, of which there is little to tell, for the shadow of Ulmo was on Tuor, and none saw them pass, by wood or stone, by field or fen, between the setting and the rising of the sun. But ever warily they went, shunning the night-eyed hunters of Morgoth, and forsaking the trodden ways of elves and men. Voronwe chose their path, and Tuor followed. He asked no vain questions, but noted well that they went ever eastward along the march of the rising mountains, and turned never southward, at which he wondered, for he believed, as well nigh all elves and men, that Turgon dwelt far from the battles of the north.
Yeah, I would have been kind of surprised too to find out that the good guys' like secret hidden city is so close.
So close, yeah.
Like it'd be hard for it to be any closer to Angband.
Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me of like Minas Tirith in Mordor, right?
Yeah,
like would you really think that the capital of Gondor is just like
right there?
A spit from fucking Mordor? Yeah,
it's almost like self-defeating in that way. It's like nobody's going to expect it to be so close.
Yeah,
so right under your door.
Mm-hmm.
So, despite their success at staying hidden our friends Voronwe and Tuor, their journey was very slow and grim nonetheless. A terrible winter came early out of the north that year, and this is the fell winter of the year 4995 to 4996
Yes.
of the First Age. Now, when you hear the word fell winter, it may ring some bells because there are actually several fell winters throughout Middle-earth's...
Which we learned. We were originally going to do an episode about the fell winter that we knew of in the Third Age, where Gandalf meets the hobbits, right? We thought that'd be a cool story to cover. And then Joel comes back to me a few days later, and he's like, yo, did you know there's like several fell winters?
There's 3.
And we could cover all 3 of them if you want. And I was like, cool. And that became episode 76, Fell Winters of Middle-earth. See, that's how the creative process works, you guys.
Yeah, so... long story short, so if you're curious about that, to get some more information about that or other fell winters, go check out that episode.
76.
But essentially, in our tale here, it's just something that was made their travel very hard, Tuor and Voronwe. It came down immediately after the fall of Nargothrond, and this winter lasted for 5 bitter months across the northern lands, and almost all the rivers of those regions were frozen over except for the great river Sirion.
Oh shit, this is like a nuclear winter from all the burning, you think, maybe?
It could have been, I suppose.
Yeah, because like he burned the shit out of like Nargothrond and then like a whole section.
And then even before that, wasn't Glaurung just like walking around burning shit all the time?
That's what I meant. Yeah, Glaurung. Yeah, Glaurung devastating like Nargothrond, and then all the burning.
Valerian, and Brethil.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that shit is burned up. You think like a lot of smoke is going into the atmosphere?
Maybe that
nuclear
could be.
winter. Right?
You made me picture Glaurung with like Godzilla breath, which was pretty sweet.
Fucking cool.
So one morning after a weary night of traveling, Voronwe suddenly stops. And he had a look of horror on his face as he stared at what used to be the beautiful pools of Ivrin. This is a landmark that has come up a couple times in past, like First Age tales. The pools of Ivrin are just a series of serene pools of fresh water at the bottom of a small waterfall that was carved into the south side of the Eredwethrin mountain range, and in the ancient days it was blessed and guarded by Ulmo, and it was known to be a place of healing and endless laughter. At one point in our last story, I think Turin was healed of his madness, right? When he went there and he drank of some of the water after he killed his friend.
He killed Beleg in the unknowingly, and then Gwyndor, our buddy from Nargothrond, brought him over to the pools of Ivrin because everyone knows it's a sick-ass place to recover. Right?
Yeah, it's a holy place.
Yeah, it is a holy place. That was actually, I think that's the same place where, I think we mentioned this in the series, actually. That's also where remember when the Noldor first land in Middle-earth, they have a big feast with the Sindar?
Oh.
The reunification feast. There's an Elvish word for it that came up in the last series. I can't remember what it was. But that was also at the Pools of Ivrin. So there's like a lot of historical shit that's happening at this place, and it's a place of healing, and because that was a feast of healing, right? It was supposed to be like, we're sundered and now we're back together.
Yeah, because there was some bad blood from the crossing of the Hellcracks and stuff.
Well, no, they hadn't learned about that yet.
Oh.
They were more like, we just haven't seen you for a while. Let's become one. Let's become friends again.
Right. Okay, we're going off. We're going off.
Anyway,
the Pools of Ivrin, a very important place.
Yeah, check it out.
So they arrive here.
Now,
They arrive here, and the whole place is completely destroyed, and the word Tolkien uses is defiled, which makes it seem almost worse.
Defiled, and I think that implies that the spirit of Ulmo's left. When they talk about waters, because the orcs, they defile Lake Helivorn at one point too. Remember, like they defile waters that once had Ulmo strong within them.
I imagine they just like wash themselves in it or shit in it or something.
Well, we had the idea that they do the Cannonball Duke. This is an old joke.
That's
remember?
Right. This is where that's where I'm pulling that idea from.
Yeah, it was an old joke. That video where somebody jumps off the dock and poops before they hit the water. That's how you weren't on the show when this joke came up. But yeah, that's what we said. That's what they did at Lake Helivorn.
That's silly.
To defile the waters.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So anyway, Pools of Ivrin have been defiled. All the plants and the trees have been uprooted or burned or destroyed or trampled, and even the boundaries of all the various little serene pools of water had been totally smashed, so all the little pools have drained out everywhere. It's just a big wet mess.
Yeah. It stinks, too. This is one of the times they mentioned that it stinks.
Yeah, there was a strange, rot and decay in the air.
Mm-hmm. Organic matter, right, Trevor?
Yeah.
Decaying. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
another
wouldn't
thing you were
be,
thinking.
would be surprised if they left bodies in there or something. I mean,
Yeah.
jeez.
Maybe.
Voronwe, he marveled at the immense strength that would have taken to do such damage, though.
Yeah, he was blown. He was like, what could have done this?
And then they found the immense tracks of Glaurung, the dragon, of course, that led off southward, and they're horrified. Because,
They know what that is.
that would be very scary.
You do not, especially just two of them? Yeah, they'd be fucked. So,
Yeah,
Voronwe,
no thanks on that.
Yeah, no, they nope the fuck out of there real fast. Voronwe insists that they need to get moving now and quickly.
But just then, they hear something that causes them both to freeze and perhaps poop their pants. Not really. It's a man shouting and running through the woods. It's startling, but it's poop pants worthy. But we got a quote here. We got an excerpt here that Trev's going to read about this instance. This is one of our favorite little cool moments in Middle Earth, actually.
Yes.
So, Trev, take away this little mwah moment here.
Even as he spoke thus, they heard a cry in the woods, and they stood still as grey stones, listening. But the voice was a fair voice, though filled with grief, and it seemed that it called ever upon a name, as one that searches for another who is lost. And as they waited, one came through the trees, and they saw that he was a tall man, armed, clad in black, with a long sword drawn, and they wondered, for the blade of the sword was also black, but the edges shone bright and cold. Woe was graven in his face, and when he beheld the ruin of Ivrin, he cried aloud in grief, saying, Ivrin! Feilivrin! Gwyndor and Beleg! Here once I was healed, but now never shall I drink the draught of peace again. Then he went swiftly away towards the north, as one in pursuit, or on an errand of great haste, and they heard him cry, Feilivrin! Finduilis! Until his voice died away in the woods. But they knew not that Nargothrond had fallen, and that this was Turin, son of Hurin, the Black Sword. Thus, only for a moment, and never again, did the paths of those kinsmen, Turin and Tuor, draw together.
God, I love that moment.
Wild.
The Silmarillion covers this a little bit more briefly, but it's pretty similar. I've always loved this moment.
Yeah.
It's such a cool moment
This
that
is like
these two cousins both are extremely important to events happening in Beleriand right now.
Yeah.
And they come so close that they can see each other, and then they just keep on going.
It's
They
kinda
never
like,
stop to see what's going on with the other one or who they are. Or
It's kind of like Jesus and his cousin John the Baptist, right? They meet that like one time, and it's like super epic meeting of two like religious figures in the region, right?
could have been.
I don't know if that's like inspiration. I'm just saying like that's what it reminded me of.
It could have been that cool if they had met,
Yeah.
but they didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I've always loved this tragic little moment. Although we've imagined before that if they ever did meet up, Turin's terrible cursed fate
Yeah.
probably would have just ruined things for everyone.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
And then,
Arendelle and
everything
all.
would be fucked.
Yeah. It was
So
just-
it's probably good they didn't.
yeah.
But on that note, we've got something special for you guys.
We got a little something special for you. This is cooked up by Trevor.
Trevor did this all by himself.
Trevor did it all by himself.
Okay,
No, the
okay.
idea
He
was
endorsed
Trev.
it. He
Yeah.
came up with it. He wrote it.
You set it up, Trev. What do you? So you made
Throwing it over
you
to
made
him.
a joke when we were doing the. So this bit was written after we did review because a joke came up that we liked so much that we made it. Into a bit.
It needed to be a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it would be funny because this seems like sort of the perfect moment for it. Back in the day, there was these misconnections things on Craigslist that me and my
Yeah.
friends used to look at to get some
Yeah.
kicks and giggles.
Yeah. They used to do them in the back of like city pages and stuff too.
Yeah, and then I learned that that's a much bigger thing
Yeah.
than I actually knew. But this seemed like the perfect moment where Tuor would maybe write one of those articles
Yeah,
for someone.
those little misconnections.
A what if moment, a
A what
missed
if,
connection.
And it's funny. When I was researching writing this bit, I read a bunch of those old Craigslist misconnections, and damn, they're flirty. It's so funny.
Some of them are raunchy as
Some
hell
of them are-
too.
yeah.
I guess you got to think about what would motivate someone, what would drive someone
to go to the internet
to go to so much effort to put out this ad or this post or whatever.
But we were extremely amused by that idea. So we cooked this up. So hopefully you enjoy it.
The following is from the very back of the Beleriand pages. An indie newspaper circulated in the First Age. This section is called Middle-earth Missed Connections. The submission, tall, dark, and handsome at the pools of Ivrin, or what's left.
You were a tall, dark-featured man at the pools of Ivrin the other day. You probably didn't notice me and my friend. You seemed pretty preoccupied, but we definitely saw you. I really thought it was cute how you were screaming random names in various different tongues at the top of your lungs, heedless of all around. I used to do that sometimes to pass the time. I used to be a slave, so I totally get it. I thought it was really genuine how sad you were at the defilement of the pools of Ivrin. It seemed like it was a pretty important place to you. I liked that because I'm a sentimental person too. I thought your sword and armor were really cool, and you look really great. That must have come from Nargothrond. Sounds like there's a story there. I'd love to hear it sometime. So, to Mr. Tall, Dark, Handsome, and possibly a little crazy, I hope we meet again. I feel like we would be really close for some strange reason. If we never meet again, hopefully you have better days in the future. Seemed like you were having a pretty rough go of it. Best of luck. Signed, Ulmo Simp.
It's hard to contain my laughter.
Yeah. I heard. I was stifling myself. I was a slave. I totally get it.
I totally get it.
That's such an excuse for so many things, right? Like, oh fuck, you whatever fucked
Jesus,
up behavior
oh.
you were doing, right? Just like, oh, that person used to be a slave.
Oh,
Let him a little.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the first time I read through that and the whole, like, I liked that you did that because I'm a sentimental person. It just fucking killed me. Sorry, we're just laughing at our own jokes now.
We're funny.
Oh, boy.
No, but those fucking misconnections are so funny, you guys.
They really are.
If you wanted a laugh, I don't even. Yeah, like just go.
That's got to still exist somewhere.
Yeah,
I
was reading some of them. I don't know if they were. I couldn't remember if they were current or not. I didn't check the dates on them, but they're still up there. So definitely check them out.
So Tuor and Voronwe continued their journey very cautiously, but they were both shaken by the destruction of Ivrin and the immense grief of the strange man. And they both felt a terrible foreboding.
Yeah, seeing a 7-foot-tall man just crying
and screaming and running through the woods.
And running around, it's unsettling, right? As someone who is almost 7 feet tall, it would be weird if you saw that.
Yeah, especially right after they found the tracks of Glaurung and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, this is not good. Not a lot of good things.
There's a lot
bad
of
things happening
crazy
today.
ass things happening around here. Let's get out of here.
Hey, it doesn't stop there. You know, that night there was a terrible frost, and after that, the snow was cold and relentless.
Yeah. And their journey was now a little life or death. It's a little deadly.
Yeah.
We're getting into the fatal
straight
shit.
up deadly just from elements. And there was no food for them to hunt, and their modest supply of lembas was running dangerously low, and they had literally no shelter anywhere to rest from all of this. And so they continued like this for 9 days before it became too much for Tuor.
At this point, Tuor finally questions Voronwe directly about where they're going and about how much further it's going to be. And, if Tuor plans to survive this journey, he figures he needs to know where to go in case Voronwe dies.
Yeah, they're both doing pretty rough.
I guess that's I didn't understand that line of thinking at first. Yeah, if this guy that's leading you somewhere fucking dies, you're lost.
I'm going to need to know where we're going, my friend.
You're lost, man.
So Voronwe reassures Tuor that they've been going the right way and they're not far now. And Voronwe admits that Turgon's secret dwelling is actually in the north and not far away in the south like most people thought. So he's kind of feeding him some details to try to appease him without...
Yeah, it's on a need-to-know basis still, but he figures he needs to know at least.
Yeah. So Voronwe says that the last leg of the journey is to make it to the river Sirion and crossing it safely. And Voronwe explains that this will be difficult because of the highway, the big road that runs north and south along the river there. Mm-hmm. And it is a road heavily used by Morgoth soldiers, so that's a problem. And Voronwe says that at this point, if they're going to survive, they need to make it to Gondolin, so this is their only real option. They gotta do it. They gotta risk it.
So by dusk, they finally made it down from the mountains and into the Vale of Sirion and came to the highway. They find that there's a band of orcs camped in the middle of the road, and in fact, there are orcs encamped all up and down the road.
Yeah. Go figure. Oh, this is great.
Morgoth, he ordered an increased guard on the road to watch for, the Black Sword, Turambar, in case he escapes and tries to follow the captives of Nargothrond northward.
Which he was.
Indeed. Tuor sees the large campfire and, he gets ready to go kill. He wants to kill all the orcs just for control of the warm campfire.
Can you imagine being that desperate? I mean, there's a line from the song. I can't remember. It's a Clash song, but it says, "I've been pretty hungry, but not enough to kill." I think it's from the song "Somebody Got Murdered." Yeah, like that's pretty bad. Like you're gonna murder for a fire, like just for the warmth.
Yeah, dude.
To stay alive for one more night, you're ready to kill.
That's desperation. I mean, they've been trudging through this winter now for a week and a half with like no shelter, no fire, no hardly any food. Like, I'd be pretty desperate too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd have the confidence to try to take on multiple camps of orcs.
No,
but good on you, Tuor. He's still got his.
He's a confident kid.
He's still got his confidence, even though he's really close to death.
Yeah.
But Voronwe, luckily, he stops Tuor from doing anything rash, and he warns him that if they hope to make it to Turgon, then they need to continue with stealth. They can't just go out guns blazing.
Right. It's like your first playthrough of Skyrim, right? You want to be stealthy. You'll understand the game a little bit better for your second, whatever you want to do, full mage or whatever for your second playthrough, right?
Yeah,
stealth is always a better choice.
Way too many orcs around for this, so...
So Tuor, he comes to his wits, and, he decides to go a little further down the road and use his special cloak to conceal them both as they cross.
Hell yeah.
And we get another excerpt from the same Chapter 1, Part 1, Unfinished Tales of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, read by Joel.
Then, clasping Voronwe close, he cast about them both the folds of the grey cloak of the Lord of Waters, and stepped forth. All was still. The cold wind sighed as it swept down the ancient road. Then suddenly it too fell silent. As a grey mist they passed over the stony street and entered a thicket on its eastern brink. All at once from near at hand there came a wild cry, and many others along the borders of the road answered it. A harsh horn blared, and there was the sound of running feet, but Tuor held on. He had learned enough of the tongue of the orcs in his captivity to know the meaning of those cries. The watchers had scented them and heard them, but they were not seen.
Yeah, so they stumble up the embankment onto the other side of the road, and they hide in the ditch, and they wait for all the orc patrols to pass.
Yeah, just hiding in the bushes and the brush. Yeah, they slept there all night, just terrified out of their minds to even move.
Yeah, I would not sleep well that night.
No, it's also cold.
If at all.
Yeah, if at all.
If at all. So the next morning, Voronwe wakes Tuor and pointed out how close they now were to the encircling mountains just across the river east of them.
Righteous.
And Voronwe explained that once they cross the river, they will be in the region of Dimbar, which is usually safe from orcs due to the vigilance of the eagles that live in those nearby mountains.
Yeah, it's pretty close to their eyries and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he explains that they will find the secret entrance over there in that region. So in order to cross this very large and dangerous river, Voronwe leads them both south and east a little ways to a ford called the Ford of Brithiac, which is Sindarin for the gravel crossing.
And when they arrived at the ford, Voronwe made them stop. He said that it was not safe to cross in the daylight, which seems kind of weird.
I suppose they'd be out in the open, crossing a big, wide, shallow
I wouldn't
river.
want to do it, yeah. I'd wait for nightfall, for sure. But Tuor, he insists that they got to go now, right? Voronwe hesitated and surveyed the land and the sky, right? You want to get your bearings, get your surroundings. Suddenly his mood changed, and he said that they should be safe to move forward. He's like, I guess I agree with you.
I guess.
Change his mind real quick.
I guess I agree with you. Let's go.
And Voronwe explained that he can see the great eagles flying down from their eyrie in the nearby encircling mountains.
Cool.
So if there were any orcs around,
they're about to be lunch.
yeah, they'd be cowering on the ground while the eagles are flying about.
It actually said, I shouldn't say that because that's that joke is in poor taste because it says specifically that eagles do not feast upon the flesh of orcs because they're nasty.
They're the disgusting creatures. Yeah. So, both Tuor and Voronwe hide under Ulmo's cloak one more time, and they cross the ford of the river together, and they get to the other side safely. And on the other side, they came to a dry gully where a small river used to once flow. So
just tributary.
A little empty riverbed.
Yeah.
And Voronwe explained that this dry river is actually the hidden road to the secret entrance.
Oh, the secret road is disguised as a dry riverbed. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever.
It is pretty clever. So Tuor, at this point, he just marveled that it was so open and unguarded. You're like, oh, this is just it. This is the way right here. To which Voronwe basically says, you just wait. And Voronwe warned that the guard may actually kill them before they even reach the gate.
Yeah, like there's no, the vigilance is so great that like there's no, they might be slain on sight. Like they, they might not even get to the gate.
And they might not even see their killer.
Yeah,
Eventually, they followed this dry river for many miles to the foot of the encircling mountains. And there the dry river continued into the mountains where it had originally issued from a tunnel. The opening of the tunnel had been covered with a thorny overgrowth, and they worked their way through the thorns and into that tunnel. And inside it was as dark as the night.
So people must leave Gondolin so seldom that there's enough time for the branches to grow back, right?
Or else they're
really good at
really
careful about
leaving
those vines intact. I would just machete them.
Just open it up.
Yes.
So Voronwe led the way, while Tuor followed with his hand on Voronwe's shoulder. It was just so dark they couldn't see. And as they went, the tunnels seemed to become more open, and it was also dead silent. And their footsteps even seemed to like echo, like every tiny sound they make was amplified. And they continued forward for a while, and then Voronwe stopped and seemed kind of troubled. And Tuor whispered to him, asking what was wrong. We've got a excerpt here about this scene from, again, The Unfinished Tales of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, read by Danny.
I wonder, said Voronwe, for it is strange that any incomer should creep thus far unchallenged. I fear some stroke in the dark. But their whispers aroused the sleeping echoes, and they were enlarged and multiplied, and ran in the roof and the unseen walls, hissing and murmuring, as the sound of many stealthy voices. And even as the echoes died in the stone, Tuor heard out of the darkness a voice speak in the elven tongues. First in the high speech of the Noldor, which he knew not, and then in the tongue of Beleriand, though in a manner somewhat strange to his ears, as of people long sundered from their kin. Stand, it said, stir not, or you will die, be you foes or friends. We are friends, said Voronwe. Then do as we bid, said the voice. The echo of their voices rolled into silence. Voronwe and Tuor stood still, and it seemed to Tuor that many slow minutes passed, and a fear was in his heart such as no other peril of his road had brought. Then there came the beat of feet growing to a trampling sound as the marching of trolls in that hallowed place. Suddenly an elven lantern was unhooded, and its bright ray was turned upon Voronwe before him, but nothing else could Tuor see save a dazzling star in the darkness, and he knew that while that beam was upon him, he could not move, neither to flee nor to run forward.
Shit, they've been caught?
Shit! Who are these guys, man?
They got the spotlight on them and everything.
Yeah. No, I love that when it reminded me when you were talking about their footsteps like started to echo and it becomes silent and it gets eerie. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of the world's quietest room?
No.
It's in Minnesota. It's like it blocks out like 99% of ambient sound. So, and nobody's ever been able to stay in here for more than 40 minutes because you start to hallucinate because you can hear like the blood moving in your head and your food digesting.
Oh.
And like it's super fucking weird. Yeah,
it sounds so unsettling.
I think it's at the University of Minnesota, but it's in Minneapolis. It's here. It's one of the weird Minnesota things that I know. But yeah,
you want to go crazy?
Check that out. Just Google "world's quietest room." It's pretty wild. Yeah, the longest people have been in there is say like 40 minutes.
Well, Voronwe recognized the one speaking as his old friend Elemmikil, captain of the Dark Guard, and Voronwe asked if the Gondolithlim had really forgotten him so quickly. Voronwe states that he should be welcome to enter back into Gondolin.
Yeah. Elemmikil, he says, Voronwe, you forfeit your right to return by leading a stranger here, dog. Like,
you know the rules, man.
Yeah.
He says that Voronwe will have to be brought back as a prisoner because of this, and then Elemmikil inspects Tuor and is bewildered to find that not only is he a stranger, but he is a mortal man.
Ew.
Disgusting. Yeah, he says, Elemekil says that it's strange that Voronwe would knowingly lead a man to his death, because at this point, there's no other option. They're not allowed. But Voronwe explained that he was following orders higher than of the guard, and demanded that Tuor be judged by Turgon himself. And then Tuor was no longer afraid, and he spoke. And we got a pretty awesome excerpt here from the same Unfinished Tales of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, read by Trevor.
I come with Voronwe, son of Voronwe, because he was appointed to be my guide by the Lord of Waters. To this end was he delivered from the wrath of the sea and the doom of the Valar. For I bear from Ulmo an errand to the son of Fingolfin, and to him will I speak it. Thereat Lemekil looked in wonder upon Tuor. Who then are you? He said, and whence come you? I am Tuor, son of Huor of the house of Hador, and the kindred of Hurin, and these names, I am told, are not unknown in the Hidden Kingdom. From Nevrast I have come through many perils to seek it. From Nevrast, said Lemekil. It is said that none dwell there since our people departed. It is said truly, answered Tuor. Empty and cold stand the courts of Vinyamar. Yet thence I come. Bring me now to him that built those halls of old. In matters so great, judgment is not mine, said Lemekil. Therefore I will lead you to the light where more may be revealed, and I will deliver you to the warden of the great gate.
Yeah, so Lemekil seems like a pretty cool guy. Do you remember what his name means? We looked it up while we were reviewing, because I was like, sounds like a cool name. I wonder what it means.
Hit us with it.
Elemekil, from the two Elvish words, Elen and Makil, which is Star Sword.
Oh, that's
right.
Yeah, Elen is star, and Makil, or usually with a C, like a hard C, means sword.
I can't believe I forgot that, because I remember that being such a dope name.
Yeah, what a cool name, right?
Star Sword.
Star Sword.
Okay, so at this point, Lemekil is amazed by Tuor, and after some thought, he determined that this was way beyond his authority, beyond his pay grade. So Lemekil decides to bring Tuor and Voronwe to the Warden of the Great Gate for judgment.
Yeah, Tuor and Voronwe were now being led down the tunnel by the guards, and they soon came to a great stone arch with a gateway of intricately carved wooden bars. And of course, this is the first gate of the Seven Gates of Gondolin. And we've got a nice description of this moment from the same Unfinished Tales chapter of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, read by Joel.
They passed, as it seemed, into a straight passage, and there walked long upon a level floor until a pale light gleamed ahead. Thus they came at length to a wide arch with tall pillars upon either hand, hewn in the rock, and between hung a great portcullis of crossed wooden bars, marvelously carved and studded with nails of iron. Lemekil touched it, and it rose silently, and they passed through. And Tuor saw that they stood at the end of a ravine, the like of which he had never before beheld or imagined in his thought. The sides of the rift were sheer as if axe cloven, and they were towered to heights unguessable. The floor of the ravine sloped steeply up eastward, and upon the left hand, Tuor saw beside the stream bed a wide way laid and paved with stone, winding up till it vanished into shadow. You have passed the first gate, the gate of wood, said Lemekil. There lies the way we must hasten.
Wood.
Nice.
Yeah. No, me and my friend Thomas, we love Beavis and Butthead so much that there's a we do the wood joke all the time. But there's an old in St. Paul. There's an old. It used to be a lumber shop, but it's got like one of those old like 1950s like murals on the brick on the side, what the business used to be, you know. And like St. Paul's cool, so they keep that shit up. But it's an old lumber shop, and it just says "Big Wood" in big black letters. And every time I take Thomas by there, he fucking wood, big wood. I'm the St. Paul, guys. What a lovely place.
What a lovely city we have. So much wood.
Yes, this is big wood.
So Tuor, looking forward, he was daunted by how far the path seemed to go. He is now utterly spent and starving. He also felt how cold the air was that came rushing down the ravine, and he was now clearly questioning whether Gondolin would be all that pleasant. and whether he really wanted to go there.
Yeah, he's like, is this worth it? Do we even want to be here? What the fuck kind of place is this?
Yeah, what if you got there and it was like Green Bay, Wisconsin?
Gross.
That's the only city. That's the only city I've ever been to. No offense to anybody listening in Green Bay, but honestly, you probably agree with me. I went there for a few days and I was very happy to leave. So I love traveling, right? I don't get to travel often, but I love going to new places. It's the only city I've ever was like, I'm done. Like, I don't need to see more of this place.
I don't need to go back there again.
Never again. Yeah, I'm chill on Green Bay, Wisconsin. But Gondolin's much better than that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, Elendil even reassures Tuor that if he can endure to the next gate, it'll get better.
Yeah.
Just hold out, buddy. Yeah.
Elendil saw that Tuor was looking kind of questioning at the road so far. He's like, don't worry, man. It's going to be okay.
There will be food on the other side.
Yeah. Like, eventually you'll get far enough south where you'll be in Milwaukee and you'll be fine, right? You won't have to be in Green Bay anymore.
Everything's Wisconsin. From here, they proceed, being led by Elendil, and the rest of the guards went back to their posts. And Elendil leads them about half a league, which is about 1.7 miles.
Yep.
All the way to the second gate. And we've got another excerpt here about the second gate. I don't know if you guys have caught on by now, but there are a lot of excerpts in this episode.
This is an excerpt heavy one.
It's hard not to. It's really beautiful.
But if you remember, like if you're getting upset with the amount of excerpts, which I don't think you are, but if you are, well, I'm sorry, dude. But like the thing is, this is what we were explaining in the last episode. This is first age stuff written by 50s Tolkien.
Which we don't get much of.
Which is like a very fucking rare thing. Like this dude, like
that was later in his life.
He's seasoned from the Lord of the Rings at this point.
Yes.
And he's writing about the early shit, the first age shit that we all love with that amount of experience. That's why this is a fucking awesome thing. You should all read it word for word, verbatim.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a excerpt here about the second gate. Again, from Of Tuor and Is Coming to Gondolin, read by Danny.
Some half-league from the wooden gate, Tuor saw that the way was barred by a great wall built across the ravine from side to side, with stout towers of stone at either hand. In the wall was a great archway above the road, but it seemed that masons had blocked it with a single mighty stone. As they drew near, its dark and polished face gleamed in the light of a white lamp that hung above the midst of the arch. Here stands the second gate, the gate of stone, said Elendil. And going up to it, he thrust lightly upon it. It turned upon an unseen pivot until its edge was toward them, and the way was open upon either side, and they passed through, into a court where stood many armed guards, clad in gray.
Pretty cool.
So if you manage to find the goddamn thing, it's a naked stone just hidden. If you manage to figure out how to open it, there's a bunch of fucking soldiers on the other side. So have fun.
And they probably already know you're there.
Yeah, and they can hear you coming through the door. I'm sure, or they have a security camera. There's like a Feanorian security camera that nobody knows how it works, but only Noldor have that technology.
Yeah, and I mean, there's 7 of these goddamn gates before you even get to the city gate.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
I love how they all have like a theme too. I love it.
Yeah, it is so really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
and you don't get this much detail about the gates and stuff in the Silmarillion, so we had to throw it out here. So
see, like, this Tuor and the Coming to Gondolin thing is just Tolkien just having fun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, this as a writer, I could see him, he's just having a lot of fun writing this, man.
So after passing through the second gate, they stopped for a little while, and Elendil brought them to a chamber under one of the guard towers where they were provided with wine and some food.
Hell yeah.
Just, some refreshments. These guys are clearly starving, and they've been in the wilderness a while. Let's give them something.
Mm-hmm.
So they were permitted to rest there a while before moving on. And Elendil reassured them that if their claims were true, they would be eating much better soon in the hidden city.
Yeah, just wait, baby. If they don't kill us before we get there, it's going to be dope when we do. But they rest for a little bit, and they continue on to the third gate. The gates are now getting closer together, and this one was not very far away at all. We got a little excerpt about this gate from the same Tuor and the Coming to Gondolin that we've been reading this whole 2 episodes pretty much now, and we love it. One of the best things ever written, in our opinion, honestly. Here it is. Trev's got it for you.
After a little space, they came to a wall yet higher and stronger than before, and in it was set the third gate. the Gate of Bronze, a great twofold door hung with shields and plates of bronze, wherein were wrought many figures and strange signs. Upon the wall above its lintel were 3 square towers, roofed and clad with copper that by some device of smithcraft were ever bright and gleamed as fire in the rays of the red lamps ranged like torches along the wall.
Pretty cool imagery. The Gate of Bronze.
Cool.
Yeah, I always thought that was really cool, just thinking about how the tops of those towers were like almost blazing with that firelight.
Hell yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be so much different, too, going from, like, this wood gate to this stone gate. Now there's, like, an actually pretty
Polished
intricate,
copper.
like, polished copper,
Yeah.
red flames. Like, all right, quality
Each
of life's going up here.
They're
Each
really
gate
going...
is the different ages of the elves, the Stone Age,
Well, I
the
was going to
Bronze
say,
Age.
it was like it's the ages of industry, right? It's like wood tools, stone tools, Bronze Age. What do we got? Yeah,
It's funny you
the
guys
Iron
are
Age
saying
next?
that, because this whole time I've been thinking this is like them going through a survival
like
game.
Civ, yeah, or some shit.
It's like Minecraft or something.
Oh, okay,
They're just
yeah,
getting
pretty
all the
much, yeah.
materials as they're going up.
Mhm.
So they silently passed through this third gate, the Gate of Bronze, and on the other side there was another courtyard. And this time there was a much larger company of guards. And these guards were dressed in mail that glowed like dull fire in the firelight. And the blades of their axes also glowed red, and it was extremely intimidating.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be fun at all to
Encounter those motherfuckers?
Well, yeah, especially because like you're encountering them after the white-robed ones. You had to kill all them
Right.
down the road at the last
This just
gate.
keeps getting worse and worse.
It's just, yeah,
Did I just walk straight into hell? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah. They continued on, to the fourth gate, which is a short distance further. However, the stretch of road leading up to this gate was a bit more difficult, And we got an excerpt from the same story of Tuor and his coming to Gondolin, read by Joel.
Now they came to the most toilsome road, for in the midst of the Orfalk the slope was at the steepest, and as they climbed Tuor saw the mightiest of the walls looming dark above him. Thus at last they drew near the fourth gate, the gate of writhen iron. High and black was the wall, and lit with no lamps. 4 towers of iron stood upon a great eagle wrought in iron, even the likeness of King Thorndor himself, as he would alight upon the mountain from the high airs. But as Tuor stood before the gate, it seemed to his wonder that he was looking through the boughs and stems of imperishable trees into a pale glade of the moon. For a light came through the traceries of the gate, which were wrought and hammered into the shapes of trees, with writhing roots and woven branches laden with leaves and flowers. And as he passed through, he saw how this could be, for the wall was of great thickness, and there was not 1 grill, but 3 in line, so that to one who approached in the middle of the way, each formed part of the device. But the light beyond was the light of day.
And so after passing the fourth gate, Tuor saw that they had climbed high above the lowlands where they had began, and he saw beyond the iron gate the road was almost level and became much wider and more pleasant.
Cool. Finally getting a little easier.
Civilization.
Yeah. They realized that they had passed through the heart of the encircling mountains, and the peaks on either side were now getting smaller.
Yeah, the sunlight reflecting off the snow was causing the mist around them also to kind of glitter in the sunlight.
Ooh,
Wow.
sounds pretty.
And there were now full lines of guards on either side of the road. However, this time the guards followed them as they proceeded to the next gate, the 5th gate. And these are the Iron Guards, naturally. They just went through the Iron Gate. And they wore black helmets, black mail, and black shields they carried, and their faces were covered with visors made like an eagle's beak.
Damn, that's cool.
That's pretty metal.
And as they approached the 5th gate, the weather began to get milder and more pleasant. Like, even the weather's on lockdown here, guys.
Yeah.
Tuor even started noticing patches of grass along the side of the road. And yeah, we got some from that. Again, from Of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin, this time by Danny.
Then Elimikil went before them, and they followed him into the pale light. And Tuor saw beside the way a sward of grass, where like stars bloomed the white flowers of Uilos, the Evermind, that knows no season and withers not. And thus in wonder and lightning of heart he was brought to the gate of silver. The wall of the 5th gate was built of white marble, and was low and broad, and its parapet was a trellis of silver between 5 great globes of marble. And there stood many archers robed in white. The gate was in shape as 3 parts of a circle, and wrought of silver and pearl of Nevrast in the likeness of the moon. But above the gate, upon the midmost globe, stood an image of the white tree Telperion, wrought of silver and malachite, with flowers made of great pearls of Balar. Dang, this one sounds pretty cool. The Gate of Silver sounds sick.
These are starting to get pretty ornate.
Yeah, literally intricate here.
So they pass through this gate into a wide court paved with green and white marble, and along each side stood 100 silent archers in silver mail and white-crested helmets. So things are just getting crazier and crazier as we move forward.
I'm getting some weird sort of Dark Souls vibes from some of these.
From the Iron Gate?
From this situation. Because, like, the Iron Gate had these black knights. Mm-hmm. The Silver Gate has these, like,
crazy archers,
silver, like archers in silver mail, like because there's silver and black knights, like so specifically, in Dark Souls. Like you could see where a lot of our modern culture gets its inspiration.
Oh yeah, it's right here, baby.
Very nice.
It's right here. Yeah, so they pass through the court, and they're onto a white road that leads down to the 6th gate. So it's white. It's like paved with
follow the white.
Follow the white road. Yeah, that was dumb.
Okay. So as they went, Tuor noticed even more grass and flowers growing along the side of the road. It's just gorgeous. And so we've got another excerpt here about the 6th gate of Tuor and His Coming to Gondolin by Trevor.
They entered upon a long white road that ran straight towards the 6th gate. And as they went, the grassward became wider, and among the white stars of Wheelos there opened many small flowers like eyes of gold. So they came to the Golden Gate, the last of the ancient gates of Turgon that were wrought before the Nirnaeth, and it was much like the Gate of Silver, save that the wall was built of yellow marble, and the globes and parapet were of red gold, and there were 6 globes, and in the midst upon the golden pyramid was set an image of Laurelin, the tree of the sun, with flower wrought of topaz and long clusters upon chains of gold. And the gate itself was adorned with devices of garnet and topaz and yellow diamonds.
God damn, that sounds gorgeous.
Cool as fuck.
I really hope they pay the dudes well who have to keep that thing clean.
You have to polish all that shit? Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
Man, I've never seen any artist interpretations of all these gates, but...
Let's call upon the fans.
If anybody's seen any...
Yeah, if you've seen any or know any, go to first of all, join the Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, join it, please. And post it in our Tolkien Art channel. The Tolkien Art channel is popping off all the time.
Send some of the Seven Gates of Gondolin art our way. I would love to see that.
Or if you're an artist, here's your inspiration. Go make us some art about it.
Yeah, Ted Naismith. I know you're listening.
Yeah, Naismith is a huge fan of the show.
Oh, yeah. Clearly, he's a big fan of the show.
Yeah, he sent us some stuff in the mail, remember?
So, in the court beyond this gate were 300 more silent archers with long bows. And their mail was gilded, and they had tall golden plumes on their helmets, and they had large, round, red shields. Everybody's got a theme.
I kind of wonder, what the point of that is, though.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
I don't know.
No, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just going to say it's kind of like the movie The Warriors.
Yeah.
With, the themed gangs.
Yeah, kind of.
But it's also the same answer to the question is, I don't know why. The same for the Warriors. I don't know why they're all dressed that way. That's what they do, Trev. Well, they all have themes, right?
That's what they do.
The baseball Furies, they have baseball uniforms. I don't know,
dude. you're not tricking anybody. These gates are close enough together. It's like, oh no, we found the hidden gate. We killed all the people there. Now, oh wait, who are these gold motherfuckers? Is this a new
enemy unlocked? Yeah.
Yeah, increasing difficulty for gates.
Yeah.
So now moving forward, the surrounding mountains they noticed were becoming so low that some daylight could actually get in, just direct daylight. And the hills on either side of the road were now completely covered in grass and flowers, and they proceeded to the last gate, the seventh gate. And the seventh gate was known as the Great Gate or the Gate of Steel.
Yeah. And this one was built by that asshole Maglin. And this was a precautionary measure after the disaster of the Near-Nath Arnoidiad. We all remember that.
Understandable. Being a little intimidated after that.
Yeah. That didn't go well, did it? Yeah.
Maybe we should build... You think we should build a seventh gate?
Yeah, I love that. They're like, they already have 6 already. They're like, nah, put in a 7th one, dude. Shit might get real.
I mean, what comes after gold? I mean, I guess steel?
Steel, I guess?
Anyway, we do have a nice excerpt about this beautiful gate, the Great Gate. You know, from Of Tuor and Is Coming to Gondolin. Joel's going to give it to us.
No wall stood there, but on either hand were 2 round towers of great height, many windowed, tapering in 7 stories to a turret of bright steel, and between the towers there stood a mighty fence of steel that rusted not, but glittered cold and white. 7 great pillars of steel there were, tall, with the height and girth of strong young trees, but ending in bitter spikes that rose to the sharpness of a needle. And between the pillars were 7 crossbars of steel, and in each space 7 times 7 rods of steel upright with heads like the broad blades of spears. But in the center, above the midmost pillar and the greatest, was raised a mighty image of the king helm of Turgon, the crown of the hidden kingdom, set about with diamonds. No gate or door could Tuor see in this mighty hedge of steel, but as he drew near, through the spaces between the bars there came, as it seemed to him, a dazzling light, and he shaded his eyes and stood still in dread and wonder. But Alemekil went forward, and no gate opened to his touch, but he struck upon a bar, and the fence rang like a harp of many strings, giving forth clear notes in harmony that rang from tower to tower.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool, but it seems like they're being pretty loud for a hidden city.
Yeah.
That's super ornate.
I guess they're probably far enough in the mountains, like maybe the valley hides the sound.
It's that phenomenon we were talking about, acoustic shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in one of our many science
How did the
talks.
elves know about this?
Yeah. The elves know about acoustic engineering, dude. They've seen the trees, dude.
Well, even though Alemekil does this action, the gate actually doesn't open, but immediately riders issue from the towers. And leading the riders was the warden of the Great Gate, Ecthelion, Lord of the Fountain.
This is our introduction.
This is the first time.
Ecthelion, Lord of the Fountain.
You've heard of him in legends. You've heard of him, you know what I mean? This is the first time we get dialogue from him, too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was remarkably taller and more fair than even Alemekil.
Hell yeah.
Like, dang.
Yeah, Alemekil presented Voronwe and Tuor to Lord Ecthelion for judgment. And Ecthelion turned to Tuor and warned him that anyone that passes the final gate will never leave unless by death.
But then Ulmo spoke through Tuor and rebuked Ecthelion, saying, quote, "Speak not, ill-boding. If the messenger of the Lord of Waters go by that door, then all those who dwell here will follow him. Lord of the Fountains, hinder not the messenger of the Lord of Waters."
I always thought that was such a cool line. Lord of Fountains, hinder not the Lord of Waters.
Oh man, that's just almost swinging his dick around. Like,
yeah. Yeah, so cool.
And everyone's amazed / dumbfounded by this. Even the person that it came out of, Tuor.
Yeah, he's amazed, too, that he's saying these things.
Yeah, those around Tuor heard the mighty voice of Ulmo as if it was coming from far away. But Tuor, he's listening to himself in amazement as if someone else was speaking with his mouth. I just thought of because it's such like an ejection forth from your person. This dialogue. Imagine if you farted and it spoke to you. Imagine if one day you just farted and it said some shit. Like a whole,
literally,
like
just
a whole,
comparing it to something so unintentional as a fart.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like a hiccup or a fart. What if you burped and it was like fucking instructions to steal the Declaration of Independence or something? You know what I mean? There's some wild shit like that.
We got to hire Nicolas Cage.
That's what's happening here. I just watched it a few weeks ago. It was on my brain. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty good movie. Still, I mean, I told
National Treasure is a classic.
I told when we sat down with the kids to watch it, I was like, "All right, Timmy, for about 2.5 hours, we're gonna pretend that America's cool."
I'd like to know how Tuor learned to throw his voice like this. I feel like that's the real
That's some
the real trick.
ventriloquism 100, dog.
Well, after this, Ecthelion stood silent for a moment, and then bowed and went and opened the final gate. And then Tuor finally passes the last gate, and on the other side was an elevated lawn that overlooked the hidden valley of Tomb Lawton, with Gondolin gleaming in the distance. He had finally made it.
He beat the game, guys. He conquered all 7 gates.
He conquered all 7 gates, and he's finally there. He can see it. And we've got a beautiful excerpt here about this moment, also from that same unfinished tale, read by Danny.
Coming to a high sward that looked out over the valley beyond, Tuor beheld a vision of Gondolin amid the white snow, and so entranced was he that for long he could look at nothing else. For he saw before him at last the vision of his desire out of dreams of longing. Thus he stood and spoke no word. Silent upon either hand stood a host of the army of Gondolin. All of the 7 kinds at the 7 gates were there represented, but their captains and chieftains were upon horses white and gray. Then, even as they gazed on Tuor in wonder, his cloak fell, and he stood there before them all in the mighty livery of Nevras. And many were there who had seen Turgon himself set these things upon the wall behind the high seat of Vinyamar. Then Ecthelion said at last, "Now no further proof is needed, and even the name he claims as son of Huor matters less than this clear proof, that he comes from Ulmo himself."
And at this very moment, after that very last line,
Just wait for it, guys. Here it comes. You ready?
here is where the manuscript for this rendition of the tale stops.
Ends. Bam! It's over.
The second that Tuor sets eyes on Gondolin, this version of the story just cuts off.
Straight ends, never to be finished ever again.
No,
Sorry.
Like I said, he beat the game. That's it.
Yeah.
Game over. He did it. That's
Game
it.
over.
But that's why this version of the tale is included in the unfinished tales, because it is unfinished.
Go figure.
And it makes us very, very sad.
Super sad.
It's unfinished, but it's also more finished, which I think is kind of fun.
It's so
Which is
cool.
a super funny way to put it, Trev. Yeah.
It's more
It's a super funny
finished.
way to put it, but that makes total sense. Yeah.
So we're actually going to just take a second out of the narrative to just talk about what would have been or could have been. So at the end of this manuscript, there are some rapidly written notes that sketch out Tolkien's intentions for the next part of the story that he was about to continue fleshing out. So let's just talk about that for just a second, because there's some cool details. So there was going to be a description of the city of Gondolin as Tuor saw it from afar, because at this point, we don't get like a description of it. And Tuor would ask the name of the city, and he'd get told it's 7 names. And just for fun, we decided we'd throw those 7 names out there.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I think during you didn't have it there originally, and I was like, "Do we have all the names?"
Yeah, why not?
And you're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Fuck it, put them in there."
Yeah. So those 7 names are Gondabar,
Stonehouse,
Stonehouse, Gondoth Limbar,
House of the Stone Folk.
of the Stone Folk, and then we've got Gwarestrin, Tower of Guard.
Yeah. We got Gar Thurian, which is a secret place. Remember Thurin means secret in we learned that in the Children of Hurin.
I like that one the best so far, Garthurion.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have just Loth, which means flower.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
We have Lothin Griol, which is flower of the vale or lily of the valley.
That's poisonous to cats, that plant, I believe.
It's a lily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Gondolin isn't for cats, I guess.
Cats are evil, right? In Tolkien's universe. So
Tolkien
yeah, there
hates
wouldn't
cats.
be any.
And of course, Gondolin, the last one.
And
right?
of course, the last name Gondolin. Now,
There you go.
an important point an important note to point out here is that at this point in the story, Tuor had never actually heard the name of the city. All he knew is that I think we threw out the name Gondolin a few times throughout the telling of this tale, but the word Gondolin was actually never used.
Yeah.
So Tuor went this whole time just knowing it as like the secret city,
The hidden city, the hidden
city.
realm.
The folk
Turgon's
realm. This is the first time he's actually hearing the name
Any of
Gondolin.
these 7 names, yeah.
And Christopher explains that it was likely intentional that Tolkien did not use the name Gondolin until now, just to sort of give it some gravity.
Yeah, hell yeah. He knows the dramatic flair, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He just got done writing The Lord of the Rings.
So, continuing on with some of these notes. So, Tolkien had planned to also have Icthelion give a signal, and trumpets would be blown from the tower to the city, and then answering trumpets would come from the city back to the Great Gate where they are.
Pretty cool.
Which, again, Trevor pointed out one time that this is not very stealthy.
Yeah, we theorize that perhaps the Echoriath, the encircling mountains, perhaps do some sort of acoustic shadow where that cannot be heard except from anywhere within the valley. Perhaps.
Maybe directly above only.
Yeah, only directly above.
Only from directly above.
The eagles can hear it nonstop, though. They're just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably more the eagles keeping things away from the area than their silence.
Mm-hmm.
That probably makes the most sense.
Keeping up the bulwark, as it were.
Yeah.
So Tolkien's notes continued saying that, his story would continue with them riding on horseback to the city, and this section would be accompanied by descriptions of the city, specifically the stairs leading up to the high level of the city, the gate of the city, a description of the trees in the city.
Of course, this wouldn't be Tolkien. This wouldn't be Tolkien if you didn't stop to describe the fucking trees.
Well, he had these outlines. He was specifically going to describe melorns, birches, and evergreens within the city.
That's so cool.
He was going to describe the place of the fountain. He was going to describe the king's tower. He was going to describe the king's house. And even the banner of Fingolfin. Like, there was going to be so much detail.
This place must be enormous.
Yeah.
Like, especially if they had to take a horse from the last gate to get there. Like,
yeah, it's quite a clip.
I can just imagine how absolutely beautiful it's supposed to be and enormous.
And I love the choice of words. They doesn't call it like a hidden castle. It's a hidden city.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's got everything you'd want. Several movie theaters, I'm sure.
Yeah, we were even going to get a description of the welcome they get of Tuor by Turgon.
Yeah, the welcome party.
Turgon would be described as the tallest elf besides Thingol, and he'd be wearing white and gold with a sword in an ivory sheath. And beside the throne, Turgon would be seen Maeglin, who is standing on his right and Idril seated on his left.
So I would also like to point out, Turgon's, this would have been far enough into the development of the canon where that would have been Glamdring, for sure.
Yeah,
His
I
sword.
would think so. Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's Glamdring.
Yeah, it's Glamdring, y'all. Glamdring is in this story.
Yeah, at this point, it would also be recounted why there was no Queen of Gondolin. Yeah, so there was just going to be a lot of detail. I believe Turgon's love interest died?
She dies on the Helcarax, I thought. Right? Crossing the Helcarax?
Okay, that was either Turgon's or that was Finrod's, but I can't. Or did Finrod leave his?
He left his lover behind. They weren't married.
That's
remember?
what it was.
Amarie?
Finrod left his lover behind in Valinor. Turgon's
his
would-be wife died in the crossing of the
crossing,
Helcarax.
I believe.
So we were going to get more information about that too.
Yeah, fun time in that. Could you imagine how the Noldor would recount that era, like the crossing of the Helcarax? Like, remember we found people speculating on the internet of how many elves were killed.
Yeah, it was like
and
in the tens of thousands or something like that.
Some people were like, could be up to 1 million fucking elves.
It was insane. What? So continuing here with some of these notes, we're almost through the notes. So here Tuor would also declare his message of Ulmo, and the cloak of Ulmo would vanish when Tuor spoke the message.
God, that's cool.
A cool, magical moment. And then after Tuor sees Idril for the first time, it would be emphasized that Tuor had not known or even seen many women at all in his entire life. And
God!
It would be
holy shit! I didn't even realize.
It would be explained that while Tuor lived with the company of Grey Elves led by Anel, a lot of their wives and daughters were sent away south to Beleriand. And then as a slave, too, he just didn't end up seeing many. And it's just, the only women he ever saw there was a note saying that it was when he was living as a thrall in Mithrim, and he saw some of, quote, the proud and barbaric women of the Easterlings, end quote, who were cruel to him. So that was his only experience of any women.
I see.
So
Tuor's a little jaded, I guess.
Little jaded. So seeing Idril for the first time must have been like, oh, like an amazing moment.
It's kind of like if you had never seen any, if you were like an alien or whatever, had never seen any Earth movies, and the only two movies you got to watch were 12 Angry Men and Lawrence of Arabia. You'd be like, the women just aren't in movies.
Yeah, women don't act. Women
aren't in films.
They don't act.
Yeah, there's just no such thing. Two movies that have just no women in them. There you go, right?
All right, so that completes of Tuor and his coming to Gondolin, the manuscript and the notes of what would have been if he had continued to complete it.
Ho hum.
So in order to finish the telling of this story, the canon version of this story, we're going to jump over to the Silmarillion. Because Christopher does such a great job in the Silmarillion. Everything's a little bit shorter and more summarized than what we just had, but
we're going to fast track the story a little bit here. we're not fast tracking the story. Christopher is fast tracking the story by switching to the Silmarillion types narrative. That the overarching narrative that we're probably more used to, because that's what
we were, Bible.
Yeah, and we're more familiar with that biblical type than we are like the last what we were just reading,
right?
With Tuor and the Coming of Gondolin,
exactly,
which is more like your Lord of the Rings style writing.
Yeah, so let's jump back into the story from the Silmarillion, and this would be from chapter 23 of Tuor and the Fall of Gondolin.
Fuck yeah.
So let's jump back into it. So this is when Tuor sees Gondolin for the first time. And Tuor is brought directly to the city and directly to the Tower of the King. And there, Ulmo speaks through him, and Tuor gives his warning to King Turgon that the curse of Mandos now hastens to its fulfillment, and all of the works of the Noldor will perish. And so we've got of course, an excerpt here about this message. And this is from the Silmarillion, chapter 23, of Tuor and the Fall of Gondolin, read by Trevor.
Thus it was that the son of Huor rode across Tumladen, and came to the gate of Gondolin. And passing up the wide stairways of the city, he was brought at last to the Tower of the King, and looked upon the images of the Shrees of Valinor. Then Tuor stood before Turgon, son of Fingolfin, high king of the Noldor, and upon the king's right hand there stood Maeglin, his sister's son, but upon his left hand sat Idril Celebrimbor, his daughter, and all that heard the voice of Tuor marveled, doubting that this were in truth a man of mortal race, for his words were the words of the Lord of Waters that came to him in that hour. And he gave warning to Turgon that the curse of Mandos now hastened to its fulfillment, when all the works of the Noldor should perish, and he bade him depart, and abandon the fair and mighty city that he had built, and go down Sirion to the sea.
An ominous message, but not unexpected.
No, really, you can't. Yeah, it's pretty logical here.
But Turgon had become proud, and the city had become very beautiful, beyond beautiful. Some say the most beautiful. And Turgon would not abandon the city. He thought the city was more or less impregnable at this point, and so Maeglin was also in his ear, just advising him to stay. Don't go, stay. This is your city. You built this.
Well, and I think it's funny because, like, way earlier, Voronwe says to Tuor, like who are we to gainsay the words of Ulmo? Like, who are we to say anything about this, right? Like,
but then we get a little bit of a different tune here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this warning still shook King Turgon nonetheless. So at this point, he closes the hidden passage to the city, and he does not allow anyone to leave. At this point, there used to be some people allowed to leave, like messengers and people who needed supplies, but now nobody. And now the Eagles would be the ones to bring news to Turgon about the goings-on in Beleriand. And through the Eagles is how Turgon would come to learn of a whole bunch of terrible things that are happening at this point in time, like the fall of the fall of Nargothrond, the fall of Doriath, which includes
all these fun events,
the slaying of King Thingol and the slaying of Thingol's heir, Dior.
Yeah, who didn't even live long enough to find out if he was immortal or not.
No. It's really sad when you put it like that.
I think he was. I don't know. It never really says explicitly, I don't think, but he is killed. So like,
I would assume as much, right? Like,
well, yeah, because
all the other half elves.
It's just funny that he never got to the point where he was for sure like, I know I'm actually immortal. Never lived that long.
Well, since Tuor was not allowed to leave, he was welcome to live in Gondolin. And while living there, he continued to grow larger in stature, and he also learned a lot of the elf's lore. Then he and the king's daughter fell in love with each other, of course. And her name was Idril Celebrimbor.
Right.
But, the guy Maeglin, he got pissed off because, he had secret feelings for his cousin Idril.
Yeah, that's right. They're cousins, but he is kind of gross. I think we covered him in our Was it the cousin fuckers or
the bit
The bit, yeah.
the bit was called Cousin Fuckers Support Group, but it was in the assholes throughout the ages.
That's what it was. Yeah, no, we never did a cousin fuckers episode.
No, we've talked about it because there's enough material to make one, which
There's
is
enough
really
material
funny.
there.
That maybe one day we'll make it. It's pretty fucking funny. For Cousin Fuckers, yep. There's enough of them. You know what? I just thought of something kind of funny. I don't mean to be mean here by this, but you said earlier that Tuor hadn't seen many women in his life, right?
This is true.
So, do we know if this Idril is like actually pretty good looking, or
Or if
he just like hadn't seen a whole lot of people, of women? You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure it's
Like, maybe
explicitly
she's-
written somewhere that she is quite fair.
It doesn't say she's a 4.
She's quite 4.
She's a mediocre.
I don't think Tolkien gave out the numerical rating.
No, she's a 10.
I mean, but
She's a 10. A clear 10.
we have what, Maeglin's opinion to go off of, and Tuor. So
Right.
Yeah, her cousin, her weird cousin,
Her
who's
weird
obsessed
cousin
with
that's
her,
in love with her.
and a guy who's never
And a
seen
guy who's
like
never seen
any
women.
women.
Yeah.
This poor girl.
honestly, I'd be less worried about what she looks like though, and more worried about like Tuor. You haven't seen many other women, man. You don't know what the sea looks like. I mean, you literally do know what the sea looks like, but you get what I mean.
I was just gonna say, Trevor. He was just there.
He was the first one, yeah.
Yeah. No, I get your meaning though. Yeah, yeah.
Like
So
it's-
many fish in the sea.
So many fish in the sea, but I guess it works out. Yeah, well, you'll see.
Well, getting back to their life in Gondolin, so in the year 502 of the First Age, after having lived in Gondolin for only 7 years, Tuor received the approval of King Turgon to marry his daughter Idril. And Turgon kept in mind the words of Huor, his old friend, at the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, when he prophesied, quote, "This I say to you, Lord, with the eyes of death, though we part here forever, and I shall not look on your white walls again, from you and from me a new star shall arise. Farewell." So he's keeping this in mind.
Mm-hmm. And then we get what is the second historic union of elves and men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah! And when there's
Tuor
only
and
ultimately
Idril.
there's ultimately only 4, right? 3 or 4? Yeah, because well, you got well, never mind. We'll talk about that later.
So in the following spring, their son is born, Eärendil.
Right.
And he had the beauty and wisdom of the Eldar, but he also had the strength and hardihood of the men of old. And also,
He inherited.
he inherited the sea longing.
Yeah.
I'd just like to point out in the
Hereditary.
order that we're learning this information, it's like Eärendil was born and he was fucking buff and really very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that this is a much more condensed way of storytelling than what we were just doing earlier.
Yeah, it's this one's very Campbell's condensed. Yeah, the only thing we really know about Eärendil's childhood is that he had Sting as a sword.
I
when
was
he a
literally
kid.
God damn.
That's all we really know for sure.
That is a KOT fact, to be more specific.
It's a theory.
So around this time is when Hurin, this is Tuor's uncle. This is when Hurin is released from Angband after the death of basically his entire family.
Yep.
And Hurin has been tortured by Morgoth for decades at this point, and had been forced to watch the horrible curse ruin the lives of his children, and he was losing his mind at this point. So Hurin, he had been to Gondolin before in the past, and he attempted to go there again to seek Turgon's aid. Because what the fuck else?
Where the fuck else are you going to go?
Where
Yeah.
else is he going to go after all this? But he could not find the hidden entrance.
Yeah, so he gets as close as he thinks he can, and he starts shouting and cursing loudly at Turgon into the just straight into the face of the encircling mountains.
Just yelling out into the mountains.
Yeah, and this kind of tipped off Morgoth's spies that they have a pretty good general idea where to be searching for Gondolin now.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
because they've been following him the whole time, right?
Right. Yeah.
They were following him the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. They did follow him the whole time.
So around this time is also when Idril began to feel a sense of foreboding that something terrible was going to happen. So she began the digging of a secret tunnel out of the city in case of an emergency. And this tunnel led north of the city, just out into the plains.
Sneaky.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And a few years later, in First Age 509, Maeglin became lost in the encircling mountains while searching for new deposits of Ordamind. And he was captured by orcs. They brought him before Morgoth, who questioned him on the whereabouts of course, Gondolin. And we have a nice little excerpt from the Silmarillion, chapter 23 of Tuor and the Fall of Gondolin, read by Joel.
Maeglin was no weakling or craven, but the torment wherewith he was threatened cowed his spirit, and he purchased his life and freedom by revealing to Morgoth the very place of Gondolin, and the ways whereby it might be found and assailed. Great indeed was the joy of Morgoth, and to Maeglin he promised the lordship of Gondolin as his vassal, and the possession of Idril Celebrimbor, when the city should be taken. And indeed desire for Idril and hatred for Tuor led Maeglin the easier to his treachery, most infamous in all the histories of the elder days.
We did a mid-turn of that, didn't we? With the Maeglin and the Balrogs and shit.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
that was a fun one.
Yeah, our interpretation of how that had gone down. Yeah, we did that in a previous
Was
episode.
that in the
That's
assholes episode? I can't. The bits. We should have kept more track of like which episodes have the bits in them. I can't even remember anymore.
Well, that's why you all just have to listen to every
Listen to 'em
episode
over and over.
Yeah,
again.
I
to
guess-
find them, you know?
I
guess
guess
that's
you're just
what
going to
I
have
have
to
to do.
go back and listen to all of them.
Yep.
Anywho diddle, this Morgoth guy, he allowed Maeglin to return to Gondolin so that no one would suspect his betrayal, as an evil villain would.
Right. And
And,
also, so that on the day of the attack, Maeglin could aid the assault from within. Double agent.
Yeah. What a
Ooh,
dick.
turncoat.
Yep. After returning to Gondolin, Maeglin was noticeably happier. That's never good. When an asshole's happy for no reason, you know they've got something up their sleeve. You know what I mean?
Also, if anyone is happier after having met Morgoth,
yeah. What kind of
this-
piece of shit are you?
like,
Or after making the deal with Morgoth, I get to fuck my cousin. I get to fuck my cousin. That's all he's thinking of right now.
After, this whole thing, even a sense of foreboding begins to grow within Idril. And in that year, Morgoth was finally ready for his assault on Gondolin.
yeah, this shit's crazy. So his army, it's massive,
Yeah.
and it consists of Balrogs, orcs, wolves, and dragons.
Of course.
He's whipping out everything. He's pulling out all the stops for this.
Yeah, and like Morgoth, he purposely attacks during a time of festival for the Gondolindrum, and this is the festival that's called the Gates of Summer, and this is a super cool thing. It kind of reminds me of like the like the Mayan pyramids and stuff, like when the sun lines up in certain dates and stuff.
Oh, sure, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So like it's when the first sun the first sun of summer, and you can see it kind of gleam over the northern hills of the city, right? And that's like they would go up on the city walls, right? And
Yeah,
they would,
yeah.
And they would wait for the rising of the sun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the first sun of summertime. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was an awesome. It's supposed to be a beautiful, like all night festival. They all get fancied up and they hang out on the walls. They watch the sunset and they,
Mhm.
have a festival until the sun comes up.
You think they, decorated all the actual gates? Because it's called the Gates of Summer? They have 7 gates to decorate?
Maybe, yeah. All the 7 gates got decorated.
So one time a year where you might actually accidentally stumble upon the gates?
All I know is that if you have a decorating people, you need a decorating stuff like that. You got to get a student council to do it. That's what we did in middle school.
Oh my God, no.
I was on student council. And they just made me do everything. You know.
Actually, I think it all makes sense. This is why every gate has themed soldiers. They're just always ready for this festival.
Mm-hmm.
They're all
It's
in
themed for the
garb.
festival.
Yeah.
So everyone is arrayed in wonderful garments and they're standing on the walls of the city, watching the sunset, waiting for the sun to rise. But not long after the sun sets, a red light begins to gleam in the hills north of the city and not to the east like they expected. And then this is when they see Melkor's army coming over the mountains. And the army did not stop until they advanced all the way to the city, and the city was surrounded.
Not
it
cool.
was fast, sudden, and terrifying.
You're just like that great Steven Seagal movie, Under Siege, right?
Yes, just like it.
Well, the ensuing battle was terrible. There were notable deeds performed by Tuor and many of the elven warriors, especially Ecthelion of the Fountain, who died fighting Gothmog, Lord of Balrogs.
Yeah, then even King Turgon was killed when his tower was collapsed, when it was basically crushed by a giant serpent that had coiled up around it.
and it got too heavy and
It crushed it, and the whole thing went down in flames, and it was supposed to be super dramatic. So Tuor went to his home at this point to rescue Idril from the sacking of the city, and this is when he finds Maglin there trying to abduct both Idril and their son, Eärendil.
What a creep.
Asshole.
Just laying hands on the child. Freak. Tuor and Maglin, they fight upon the walls until Tuor finally bests Maglin and throws his ass over the precipice of the city wall, just like dear old dad, Eöl the asshole.
Yeah, we didn't get into it too much here, but his dad died the same way and prophesized that that's how he would die.
Yeah, he said you'll die the same as me. And they even hit the wall the same amount of times, right? He hits the. Doesn't it say they both hit the wall? I
can't remember if they both hit the wall, but it does
say here
that Maglin hit the wall, hit the cliff twice as he fell down into the fires of the armies below.
That's pretty cool.
So he's dead AF.
Yeah, he's dead and gone. Then Tuor and Idril, they lead out of the city as many survivors as they can find, right?
As many refugees.
I'm imagining it's pretty chaotic right now, and they're just grabbing children and elderly people and trying to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it's a lot of wounded people and a lot of women and children. And they use Idril's secret tunnel. Thank God she had created it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this led them all northward of the city, and they went up into the mountains to some of the highest peaks of the encircling mountains. And from there, they could see the valley of Tumladen below, covered in a mournful mist made by the dragons sacking the city.
Yeah, the dragon stank.
The dragon stank. I think that's the technical term.
It's a Tolkien term.
They could see the dragon stank blanketing the city.
just rising up. Well, the path they're on led to a high pass in the mountains called the Eagle's Cleft. And it's called that because the great eagles frequently nested there. But here they were ambushed by orcs and a Balrog.
Fuck.
And Glorfindel, he sacrificed himself to defeat the Balrog.
Yes, Glorfindel, our great. This is the other super famous elven warrior of old.
Yeah,
who actually gets reincarnated.
Yeah,
one of the few.
If you're wondering, that sounds like
characters.
Glorfindel from The Lord of the Rings. Same guy, dude. Yo.
Yes, it is the same.
Same guy.
And we've got a pretty sweet excerpt here about him from the Silmarillion, chapter 23, read by Danny.
Then dreadful was their plight, and hardly would they have been saved by the valor of yellow-haired Glorfindel, chief of the House of the Golden Flower of Gondolin, had not Thorondor come timely to their aid. Many are the songs that have been sung of the duel of Glorfindel with the Balrog upon a precipice of rock in that high place, and both fell to ruin in the abyss. But the eagles, coming, stooped upon the orcs, and drove them shrieking back, and all were slain or cast into the deeps, so that rumor of the escape from Gondolin came not until long after to Morgoth's ears.
R.I.P. Glorfindel. Taking down a Balrog.
Yeah, what a guy. Most people that, pretty much everybody that stands alone against a Balrog gets iced, right?
Actually, yeah. That's a pretty true statement.
It's kind of like, they say that in the Matrix. They're like, everyone who's ever stood their ground against an agent has been killed. It's like that with the Balrogs. Like, everyone who's ever just one-on-one these things has been killed.
It's true. Just about everyone who's fought against and killed Balrogs has been killed.
Yep.
So, at this point, this is when Thorondor, the great Lord of Eagles, flies down to retrieve Glorfindel's body and brings it back up to the group, and they bury him there beside the pass in a mound of stones. And in the future, yellow flowers grew on it forever. It was a beautiful place.
No.
What did he have in his skin? Did he eat a bunch of seeds before he died? Like, what's
Just
going on?
Yellow flowers. So eventually they made their way southward down the river Sirion to the beautiful lands of Nantathrin, the land of willows. There the power of Ulmo still ran through those waters, making it a peaceful place to rest, and the refugees stayed there a while until they were healed of their wounds. And also there they held a feast in memory of Gondolin. They sang a bunch of songs, especially for Glorfindel, and there Tuor even made a song for his son, Eärendil.
Oh, that's sweet. I never had a dad to make a song for me, so that's real nice. Way
Must
to
have
go.
been nice.
Must have been nice. Yeah. Thanks, Dad. They continued southward to the mouths of the Sirion, where they joined the people of Elwing, who is the daughter of Dior from Doriath, right?
Yeah, a.k.a. these are the refugees from the sacked kingdom of Doriath.
Well, the second sacking of Doriath.
The second sacking, yeah. So
Doriath
these are,
got so lucky it got to have 2 sackings.
so these are a bunch of Sindarin refugees, whereas our band of elves we're following right now are a bunch of High Noldorin refugees.
Yeah.
But now they're pretty much all just refugees.
Yeah, they're all pretty much just trying to survive at the mouths of the Sirion.
They share one thing in common now. They all got sacked.
They all
Yeah,
got sacked.
Everyone's
yeah.
getting sacking.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point also, Elwing currently has one of the Silmarils
Yeah, that's important.
left over from the whole Baron and Luthien tale fiasco.
The very same.
So before King Thingol died, he had the Silmaril set into a pristine dwarven necklace known as the Nauglamir,
Mm-hmm.
and as the heir of Thingol, Elwing wears it.
So after the word of the death of High King Turgon became known to the world, they anointed, they being the Noldor, anointed a new king, and that was, of course, the closest person in line to Fëanor and Fingolfin would be Gil-galad, woo, son of Fingon.
Yeah, now we're getting to some familiar third age, second and third age names.
Yeah,
Gil-galad.
What do they call
it's
him?
crazy to think about that he goes all the way back to the first age.
Don't they call him, like, in the Silmarillion, they call him, like, Iranian or something, right? They don't use the word Gil-galad, right? But we found out later through scholarly work that it's the same person, I think. I think it was one of those things that they patched together through time. But Gil-galad is, as we know in canon now, the son of Fingon.
Yes, so he becomes the next and last High King of the Noldor. And
He's
around
the last, I forgot.
Yep.
Oh, way to go, buddy.
Also around this time, Tuor began to feel the sea longing and decided it was time for him to set sail. And so we will end the story of the Fall of Gondolin here with one final excerpt from the Silmarillion, chapter 23, of Tuor and the Fall of Gondolin, and this time it'll be read by Trevor.
In those days, Tuor felt old age creep upon him, and a longing for the deeps of the sea grew strong in his heart. Therefore, he built a great ship, and he named it Erame, which is Sea Wing. And with Idril Celebrimbor, he set sail into the sunset and the west, and came no more into any tale or song. But in after days it was sung that Tuor alone of mortal men was numbered among the elder race, and was joined with the Noldor, whom he loved, and his fate is sundered from the fate of men.
Wow. So Tuor, maybe of all men, made it.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the only one who doesn't have the gift of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
he
it might have been taken away.
be.
They might
Yeah.
have taken away the gift.
This detail about Tuor possibly having made it always felt like that detail always clashed to me kind of with the whole story of Eärendil. And when Eärendil gets there, and it's
Yeah.
like he's the first of mortal men to get there, but
Well, there's also the speculation that I got to bring in some Dunedainry here.
doing a dannery.
There's also speculation that in the Second Age that Amandil.
Oh,
made
that's
it
right.
as well.
Amandil, he may have made it as well.
'Cause
Yeah,
that's
so
why
there's a
his sons
few
were spared,
there's a
right?
few kind of what ifs.
What if? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that, my friends, ends the story of Tuor and the Fall of Gondolin. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation today. Just a couple final thoughts from us. So, as we may have mentioned before, of Tuor and
About 1,000 times.
about
we
1,000
mentioned
times.
this.
of Tuor and is coming to Gondolin, aka the final version.
Like Blade Runner, the final cut.
The
right?
incomplete
final version.
The more fleshed out, incomplete tale that we started with is probably one of our favorite Middle Earth writings, just in general. Me and Danny have just been gushing about it the whole time.
The whole fucking time.
A Lord of the Rings aged Tolkien going back and writing about his first age stuff. You can't, man, you can't understate it. It just pains me to think about what it could have been if it were completed.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You can tell the difference, like even just in our retelling of it for everybody. It's like that the ending, it happens so quickly. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot of like more real fine details. It's like we had the whole journey with the final version, and then when we jump into the Silmarillion part, it's like
Zippity doo dah.
it just goes straight through it. Like, all right, it was almost anticlimactic. I mean, really,
in a way, it is. In a way, it is kind of anticlimactic. It's funny because like the entire of Tuor and the Coming of Gondolin, like what space of time does that cover? Like a couple weeks, and then
I suppose that's true. Yeah.
Then the narrative at the end, the sweeping narrative, is like it's 7 years at least.
At least 7 years.
Yeah. So it's like they cover like a decade in a fewer pages than they do the first part, which is like just kind of a good way to compare the two.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's a good perspective to have.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of that also is due to the fact that the Silmarillion is more than just that. Like it's a huge over-encompassing
the Fall
story,
of Gondolin
and it's
is
just like running through this information for you.
Yeah, the Fall of Gondolin is a blip in the bucket of the Silmarillion overarching story, really.
But yeah, still. So we just go nuts thinking about what could have been if it were completed. And also, the end of the Fall of Gondolin it feels a little anticlimactic, like we mentioned, because it's technically supposed to trail into the tale of Eärendil, but we're going to save that for our final episode on the Fall of Gondolin. So that's going to be episode 116, our 5th installment on the Fall of Gondolin.
Yeah, because we said these 3 tales. The first one's a love story, the second one's a tragedy, and the third one is like a hopeful, epic uplifting story, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's where,
it's got to end with that hopeful
in.
message. We get the fall, but there's supposed to be a hopeful message at the end. We kind of get that with the tale of Eärendil, so we're going to get more into that.
Oh yeah,
at the end, because that's sort of its own tale on its own. Anyway. So that's all for us today. Next week is going to be episode 114, The Fall of Gondolin Part 3. And next week we're going to dive into the early version of this story. And it is so cool, guys.
Hell yeah.
So cool. You got to check it out.
Yes. Thanks for listening to KOT Podcast. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Stay up to date on new episodes. And please rate and review us. Wherever on whatever service you use. That'd be super cool. That helps us get exposure in the algo and all that. You know how that works, guys. Please do that. Also, check out our new website, keepontolkien.com, which is a hub for all things KOT. Everything we mention on the show pretty much can be got there at KOT website, which is keepontolkien.com, guys.
Another big thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Subscribing on Patreon not only supports us, but it also unlocks some exclusive content for you. You can find that at patreon.com/KOT podcast. We also do some one-time donations if that's more your speed. We have PayPal and other services. Just contact us on whatever social media suits you best, and we just appreciate anything you are willing to offer. Thank you for helping us.
Also, don't forget to follow us on that social media. You should definitely come to our Discord. We'll have a link in the description. That is the primary way that we can engage with our audience. And, as we said, we want to see some pictures of all these gates and things. So if for no other reason, just join the Discord to post some sick pictures.
Yeah, if you know any art of the Seven Gates of Gondolin, we want to see them.
Yeah.
Share them with us. I genuinely really want to see them because they sound so cool.
Honestly, you know what one of my favorite parts of the Discord is one of the threads that I like to hang out in the most? The non-Tolkien nerdery one. And that's funny because it doesn't have anything to do with Tolkien, but it's just a way to get to know you guys. The community, what you guys like. A lot of us are talking about, turns out we like a lot of the same shit.
A lot of the same nerdy stuff.
Same nerdy stuff, yeah. And
there's some other horror movie fans, sci-fi nerds.
Yeah, all you guys. Yeah, there's so much non-Tolkien nerdery on there. Yeah, check that out. That's part of the Discord. The Discord just rules, guys. Check it out.
Yeah, Discord's the best place, but it's not the only place.
True.
You should definitely find us on TikTok at keep_on_Tolkien_podcast. We like to put some stuff in there, especially when we've got some upcoming things. We're still on X, formerly Twitter, at KOT Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at official Keep on Tolkien. We're on Instagram at Keep on Tolkien Podcast. I know all these are slightly different, but if you really can't remember them, which is fine, just go back to keepontolkien.com. That is the easiest place. We have all the links to all these places.
Hands down.
Please do that.
Including, if you want to help support us just a little bit more, We also have a merch store. There's a link on the website, but as is tradition, I'm just going to read out this tongue twister. keep-on-tolkien-podcast.tmail.com.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Get it.
Come and get some pretty sick Keep on Tolkien merch and represent your favorite podcast.
And that's pretty much all from us, guys. Don't miss any of those connections. If we have to say anything,
Those
at the end
missed
of this-
connections.
Yeah, keep those connections not missed. You know what I mean? Make a friend.
If
shoot your shot. You know,
if ever it gets away from you, find a way.
Okay, well, that's all from us. We're ridiculous. I'm Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
And together we are...
Keep on Tolkien.
I'm going to say it like I think a cousin fucker would say it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, gross.
All right, into the
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I hope so.